Welcome back to our channel. We hope you'll find valuable content here. If you enjoy our channel, please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Let's dive in. Imagine waking up one day and finding that the loaf of bread you bought for $1 yesterday now costs $10. This rapid increase in prices, where money seems to lose its value almost overnight, is what we call hyperinflation. It's like a financial fever, where the temperature, or prices, shoots up, making the currency feel weak and sickly. Unraveling hyperinflation. Historically, hyperinflation has been a nightmare for countries. Take Zimbabwe in the 2000s, for instance. People had to carry bags of money just to buy basic items. The value of money deteriorated so rapidly that the government had to issue $100 trillion notes, a figure that's almost impossible to fathom. Similarly, in the 1920s, Germany, after the devastations of World War I, saw its currency value plummet. Stories are told of people using bundles of cash as makeshift toys or even wallpaper because the money was practically worthless. The 2022 inflation wave. Fast forward to 2022, the world, especially regions like the USA, EU, and UK, experienced a significant inflationary wave. It wasn't the terrifying hyperinflation of Zimbabwe or Germany, but it was noticeable. In the USA, people began to feel the pinch when grocery shopping or filling up their cars with gas. Prices seemed to creep up every week. This inflation was a result of a cocktail of issues. Disruptions in the supply chain meant fewer products were available, and a surge in demand as people tried to return to normalcy after the pandemic lockdowns. Additionally, the government's efforts to stimulate the economy by pumping in money played a role. Across the pond, in the European Union, the story was similar. Prices rose, with energy and food taking the lead. People felt the weight of these price hikes in their daily lives, from the coffee they sipped in the morning to the electricity that powered their homes. The UK had its share of challenges too. Apart from the pandemic's effects, the country was navigating the waters of post-Brexit changes. This, combined with global supply chain issues, meant that prices of everyday items were on the rise. The education conundrum. Now, let's connect this to education. Imagine being a student or a parent in these inflationary times. Every dollar or pound matters. Yet, when you look at the tuition fees for colleges and universities, there's a stark realization. The cost of education is skyrocketing. In such an environment, it's only natural to question the value of education. Is it worth taking on massive student loans when the future seems uncertain? Is the promise of a better future after obtaining a degree realistic, or is it a mirage? The rising costs, juxtaposed with stories of graduates struggling to find jobs or being underemployed, have led to a growing chorus of voices questioning the modern education system's efficacy. The sentiment that education might be a scam stems from this juxtaposition of high costs and perceived low returns. The underlying structure of the education system. Education, a factory or a garden? When we think of education, we often imagine it as a nurturing garden where young minds are cultivated to grow, bloom, and bear fruit. However, some critics argue that the modern education system resembles more of a factory than a garden. In a factory, raw materials, in this case, young minds, are processed in a standardized manner to produce a consistent product. There's a set pattern, a defined path, and a predictable outcome. This factory model of education, which has its roots in the Industrial Revolution, was designed to produce workers suited for industrial jobs. The emphasis was on obedience, punctuality, and performing repetitive tasks efficiently. Schools and prisons, a stark comparison. It might seem extreme to compare schools to prisons, but there are striking similarities in their design and structure. Both institutions prioritize order, discipline, and conformity. The layout of many schools, with their long corridors, uniform classrooms, and strict timetables, is reminiscent of a prison's regimented structure. This isn't to say that schools are inherently bad or that educators have malicious intentions. However, the comparison serves to highlight the rigidity of the system and its potential to stifle creativity and critical thinking. The financial side of education. Education, ideally, should be a noble pursuit, free from the shackles of commerce. Yet, the reality paints a different picture. Tuition fees have been soaring, making higher education a significant financial burden for many families. Take, for instance, the claim that for every dollar loaned by the government for student loans, tuition goes up by 60 cents. This suggests a direct correlation between government funding and rising tuition costs. Institutions, knowing that students have access to loans, might be incentivized to increase fees. Moreover, prestigious institutions like Harvard amass wealth, leading to questions about the commercialization of education. Is the primary goal to impart knowledge or to generate revenue? The unsustainability of the system. The current trajectory of the education system, with its rising costs and questionable return on investment, seems unsustainable. Like a bubble that keeps expanding, there's a looming fear that it might burst. This sentiment is further exacerbated by recent mass layoffs from big corporations. If obtaining degrees from reputed institutions doesn't guarantee job security, then what does? It underscores the idea that despite efforts to succeed by following the prescribed path, school, grades, degrees, jobs, the system is set up for individuals to succeed only on its terms. Education has produced luminaries, thinkers, innovators, and leaders. The original principles of education aim to foster curiosity, critical thinking, and a love for knowledge. There's a growing call to return to these ideals, to transform education from a factory model to a more organic, student-centric approach. The product of the system, are we nurturing minds or manufacturing conformity? Brainwashing or educating? The term brainwashing conjures images of mind control, of stripping away individuality and instilling a specific set of beliefs. While it's a strong term to associate with education, there's a growing sentiment that the system, in its current form, leans more towards producing a standardized mindset rather than nurturing individual thought. Education should ideally be a platform where students are encouraged to question, explore, and form their own opinions. However, the prevalent system often emphasizes rote learning, memorization, and adherence to a set curriculum. This approach can inadvertently suppress critical thinking and creativity, turning students into products of the system rather than independent thinkers. Interests of the creators versus the students. Historically, the education system was designed during the Industrial Revolution. The aim was clear: produce workers fit for the industrial age. This meant creating individuals who were punctual, obedient, and capable of repetitive tasks. While the world has evolved significantly since then, remnants of this old system persist. The question arises, is the current education system truly designed for the benefit of the students? Or does it serve the interests of its creators and perpetuators? When students are molded to fit into predefined roles rather than being equipped with skills to navigate an ever-changing world, it's worth pondering whose interests are truly being served. The financial bind, education's price tag. Education, in its essence, should be about imparting knowledge. However, the financial aspects have become increasingly prominent. With soaring tuition fees, many students find themselves in significant debt upon graduation. This debt can be a heavy burden, affecting life choices, from buying a home to starting a family. The startling statistic that for every dollar loaned by the government for student loans, tuition goes up by 60 cents paints a grim picture. It suggests an almost parasitic relationship where institutions might be capitalizing on the availability of loans, driving up costs without a corresponding increase in the quality or value of education. The need for a paradigm shift. The great minds of history, from philosophers to scientists, were products of an education that encouraged exploration and critical thinking. There's a clarion call to return to these roots, to redefine the purpose and methods of education. Success shouldn't be narrowly defined by grades, degrees, or jobs in prestigious companies. True success lies in the ability to think critically, adapt to change, and lead a fulfilling life. The current system, with its emphasis on conformity and standardized testing, might not be the best path to this kind of success. Redefining success in the modern age. The prescribed path, a journey or a treadmill. From a young age, many of us are introduced to a well-defined path: excel in school, get good grades, attend a reputable university, secure a stable job, and climb the corporate ladder. This path, often painted as the golden route to success, has been the narrative for generations. But is it truly a journey towards fulfillment, or is it more like running on a treadmill, where despite all the effort, one might feel stuck in the same place? In recent times, with the advent of technology and the changing nature of work, the traditional markers of success are being challenged. The rise of entrepreneurs, freelancers, and digital nomads suggests that there are multiple paths to success, and it's essential to find the one that aligns with individual passions and strengths. The system's terms of success. The education system, in its current form, often measures success through standardized tests, grades, and degrees. While these metrics have their value, they might not be comprehensive indicators of an individual's potential or capabilities. Recent mass layoffs from big corporations serve as a stark reminder that even if one achieves success on the system's terms, it doesn't guarantee stability or job security. The world is dynamic, and relying solely on traditional markers can be limiting. The great minds, products of conformity or creativity? History is replete with examples of individuals who defied the norm, challenged the status quo, and left an indelible mark on the world. Thinkers like Albert Einstein, artists like Vincent van Gogh, or innovators like Steve Jobs didn't fit neatly into the conventional boxes of their time. These luminaries remind us that true brilliance often lies outside the boundaries of standardization. They were not products of conformity but were driven by curiosity, passion, and a relentless pursuit of their vision. A return to authentic education. The essence of education is not just about imparting information but nurturing the innate curiosity and potential within each individual. There's a growing call to shift from a one-size-fits-all approach to a more personalized, holistic form of education. This approach recognizes that each student is unique, with distinct talents, interests, and learning styles. The original ideals of education aim to foster a love for learning, critical thinking, and the ability to adapt and innovate. In the face of a rapidly changing world, there's an urgent need to return to these principles and prepare students not just for exams but for life. The impending collapse: is the education system sustainable? The fragility of the current system. The modern education system, with its towering tuition fees, burgeoning student debt, and an increasing mismatch between academic training and job market demands, appears to be on shaky ground. Like a building with a weak foundation, there are concerns about how long it can stand without significant reforms. The debt dilemma. One of the most glaring issues is the ballooning student debt. Young graduates, often with dreams of starting their careers on a strong footing, find themselves shackled by loans. This debt not only impacts their financial decisions, like purchasing a home or starting a family, but also adds emotional and psychological stress. The startling correlation between government loans and rising tuition fees further complicates the matter. It's like a vicious cycle: as more funds become available in the form of loans, institutions raise their fees, leading students to borrow even more. Mismatched outcomes. Another significant concern is the disconnect between what students learn and what the job market demands. Many graduates find that their degrees don't necessarily equip them with the skills needed for the modern workplace. This mismatch can lead to underemployment, where individuals work in roles that don't fully utilize their qualifications or potential. The bubble analogy. The current state of higher education, especially in countries with exorbitant tuition fees, is often compared to a bubble. Just like the housing bubble, where property prices soared unrealistically before crashing dramatically, there are fears that the education sector might face a similar fate. The signs are there: rising costs, increasing debt, and questionable returns on investment. A glimmer of hope: the way forward. While the challenges are daunting, they also present an opportunity for transformation. There's a growing recognition of the need for change, and several alternative models of education are emerging. From online courses and boot camps to apprenticeships and experiential learning, the future might see a more diversified and practical approach to education. The essence of this transformation is to shift the focus from mere academic achievements to holistic development, preparing students not just for jobs but for a rapidly evolving world. Reimagining education: a return to original principles. The legacy of great minds. Throughout history, the world has been graced by individuals whose contributions have shaped civilizations, pioneered scientific breakthroughs, and enriched cultures. Think of luminaries like Leonardo da Vinci, Marie Curie, or Rabindranath Tagore. These individuals were not just products of their educational systems but were nurtured by an insatiable curiosity and a passion for discovery. The true essence of education. Education, in its purest form, is not about memorizing facts or acing exams. It's about kindling the flame of curiosity, fostering critical thinking, and nurturing a lifelong love for learning. The original principles of education were rooted in these ideals. It was about producing not just scholars but well-rounded individuals who could think, question, and innovate. The modern disconnect. Over time, the essence of education has been overshadowed by a system that often prioritizes grades over genuine understanding, conformity over creativity, and rote learning over reasoning. This shift has led to a scenario where students might excel in exams but struggle to apply their knowledge in real-world situations. The need for a renaissance. There's a growing call to return to the foundational principles of education. This doesn't mean discarding modern advancements but integrating them with core values that prioritize holistic development. Holistic learning, beyond academic achievements, focus on emotional intelligence, social skills, and ethical values. Experiential learning, move away from textbook-centric approaches and embrace hands-on experiences, projects, and real-world applications. Personalized education, recognize that every student is unique. Tailor learning experiences to individual needs, interests, and strengths. Reimagining education is not just about reforming schools or revising curriculums. It's about creating an environment where every individual, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to discover their potential, pursue their passions, and contribute positively to the world. Challenging the status quo, the path to authentic success. The illusion of success. In today's world, success is often portrayed through tangible metrics: a high-paying job, a fancy car, a luxurious house, or academic degrees from prestigious institutions. While these achievements are commendable, they might not always equate to genuine fulfillment or happiness. There's a growing realization that authentic success transcends materialistic gains. The system's narrow definition. The current education and societal system often promotes a narrow definition of success. Students are conditioned to chase high grades, attend top universities, and secure jobs in renowned companies. While these milestones can offer stability and recognition, they might not necessarily align with an individual's true passion or purpose. The cost of conformity. Conforming to societal expectations can come at a cost. Individuals might suppress their true desires, passions, or talents to fit into a mold. Over time, this can lead to feelings of emptiness, dissatisfaction, or even burnout. The pressure to keep up with peers, to constantly achieve and accumulate, can be mentally and emotionally draining. Redefining success on personal terms. Authentic success is deeply personal. It's about aligning one's actions with inner values, passions, and purpose. For some, it might mean pursuing a creative endeavor. For others, it could be making a difference in the community, and for some, it might be about personal growth and self-discovery. Self-awareness, understanding one's strengths, weaknesses, passions, and values. Purpose-driven actions, aligning daily actions with a larger purpose or vision. Continuous learning, embracing a growth mindset and being open to new experiences and knowledge. True success is not just about reaching a destination but enjoying the journey. It's about the lessons learned, the relationships built, the challenges overcome, and the growth experienced along the way. The crossroads of education and authentic success. As we've navigated the intricate landscape of modern education, it's evident that we stand at a pivotal crossroads. The traditional paradigms of success, deeply entrenched in our education system and societal norms, are being challenged by a rapidly evolving world. The issues highlighted, from the financial burdens of education and the potential unsustainability of the current system to the narrow definitions of success, underscore the urgent need for reform. It's not just about tweaking the existing system but reimagining it from the ground up. The future of education lies in its ability to nurture the whole individual. Beyond academic achievements, there's a growing recognition of the importance of emotional intelligence, ethical values, and life skills. The call is for an education that prepares students not just for exams but for the challenges and opportunities of life. While systemic changes are crucial, the power of individual choice cannot be understated. Each person has the agency to define success on their terms, to pursue passions, and to carve out a unique path. The stories of luminaries who defied conventions remind us that authentic success often lies off the beaten path. Challenges often bring opportunities. The current state of education, with all its complexities, also presents a chance to innovate, adapt, and evolve. By returning to the foundational principles of education and integrating them with modern advancements, we can pave the way for a brighter, more inclusive, and fulfilling future.